This week's episode is brought to you by Logic Martial Arts. If you are in the St. Louis metro area, you can reach Brian Davis with Logic Martial Arts and mention Enter the Last Dragon and Roy Robb and get a free self defense class when you sign up. You can call him at 618 304 9568. Mention Roy Robb and Enter the Last Dragon to get a free self defense class when you sign up. Thanks. Now let's get into some martial arts. What's good? What's good? All right, y'all. We are back for another episode. I am here with my main man, one of my partners in the game of BJJ, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, my brother Charles. CJ is what he goes by, but I'm sure you got another name for you on the match.
Oh, yeah, man.
Hey, let's welcome my partner. What they call you on the match, my brother?
Mr. Energy, INNER capital G. Basically, I try to come up with a moniker that fits me, that encompass me as a whole. So,
No doubt. So what you got popping, man? Tell my listeners that Enter the Last Dragon who you are, where you from, what you like to do, what your interests are.
yeah, I'm a professional fighter coming out of St. Louis, Missouri, 314. And right now I'm 7-2 as a pro, one of the top flyweights in the world. I actually rank like right around 130 on Fight Matrix, which is the big website that tells you the way rankings of everyone in every weight class across the whole world. So I'm the number 130 in the world right now. I'm just moving up. I'm still a prospect, so very excited in that aspect of things. So
that's what's up, man.
Yeah, man.
That's what's up. So right now you are professionally fighting.
Yeah.
You are what else you got going on? What else you doing? When was the last fight you had?
Man, I've been boxing a lot this year. So my last fight was in September of 2018. So last year. And so I haven't fought in almost a year MMA. I just been training. I've been boxing. I fought like 4 boxing matches though. I went like 0-2-2, so like 2 losses and 2 draws. Everybody know in the boxing world, draws means wins.
Exactly.
All my boxing matches have been against like top prospects. You know what I'm saying? So like they bringing me in to lose, and I'm also fighting up. I've been fighting at 140 in boxing, and so like I walk around 136. So I'm going up a weight class. My fight weight is actually 125. You hear me? So
that's crazy.
I ain't never been dropped. I ain't never been stopped in any of my boxing matches. One of them had to get stopped because it was an accidental headbutt by the other guy, and that was the only reason why that fight ended, But other than that, I done had 9 professional boxing matches, all against prospects, and I've handled myself really well, seeing as I never picked up a pair of gloves till I was 22.
That's good.
I didn't start really boxing until 2016 when I became pro. I actually started trying to learn boxing, but I didn't get into fighting until I was 22. I didn't even know how to throw my left hand. So
wow.
It's been a really good, fun journey these last 6 years in between doing college track, and then now I've been able to focus these last 3 years on just fighting. So
all right, so let's step back. So you are MMA fighter. Where'd you get your start when it comes to any athleticism or martial arts? Tell me about that. Where'd you start?
Like really, I'm just gonna say, anything in life starts with your mindset, right? So like everything in my life started with, I like always felt like I had something to prove. I always felt like I wanted to attack something for myself. I was a lot smaller than everyone most of my life, and then by my parents being Marines, they were kind of like on me, and I was just always very individual in things. I tried to do team sports. I was really small. It didn't really work out. By the time I hit high school, I had been running track in the summers at amateur athletic, gone to junior Olympics and stuff. I hadn't placed much until I started growing a little, probably around 11 and 12 when I started placing, when I started finding my races. I started running longer distances, and I just found my niche. I was trying to sprint with bigger guys. Like, I don't know sprinter, right?
Right.
So it's all mindset, right? I always wanted to be good, and doing long distance really trained me to stay focused. It trained me to and showed me that the work that I put in, I was going to see results, because I saw results almost every week. the more I ran, the more I did it, my lungs got bigger. You know, like everything got easier. So by the time I hit high school, man, I had been a junior All-American. I hadn't been a junior national champion yet, but I had been an All-American for a few years.
Man.
And my 8th grade year of junior high school, I played basketball, I played football. My dad played semi-pro since I was younger, and he was really really good at football. Hurt his knee. He was had tryouts with the Dolphins and stuff. So like he was very athletic. But you know, it wasn't until my 8th grade year, I asked my parents could I box, cause little did they know I got in a fight at school, my first fight,
right,
and I lost in the bathroom. And then I was like, it was eating me up. And then you know I had always watched boxing on TV. I love watching boxing. We didn't get the pay-per-views, you know, but like when I could catch it, I would watch it. And so like I asked my parents, you know, can I do boxing? And they were like, no, we don't think we want you to do boxing. So they put me in wrestling. This was my 8th grade year.
Yeah.
And like from the moment I started wrestling, I was just naturally really good at it. And you know, it's weight classes, so I was wrestling dudes my weight, and I was turning them up. And I went 8th grade. I went to state, not high school state, but it's different level of state. It's like the kid state, you know. But I went to state, and I won my little bracket, man, and I was hooked. And it was my first year of wrestling. You know, I'm wrestling against kids that been wrestling a lot of their life. And I won my bracket. I went out there. I was taking everybody down. And, like, I fell in love with it. So, going into high school, I was like, I'm going to do every sport that puts me on varsity.
That's a lot.
And so, like, I ran cross country.
Yeah.
And I made it to state in cross country as a freshman.
Wow.
Which hadn't happened in Hazelwood East history, which is class 4, like, I don't think ever.
Right.
But like it hadn't happened at least in 50 years, you know.
Right.
And I did it as a freshman.
That's amazing, man.
And then the fall season rolls around. So all my life from like 4th grade up, I was playing basketball. So you know, wrestling and basketball season at the same time.
At the same time, so that conflict.
So I was like, man, what I'm seeing is they make all the freshmen play freshmen. I ain't trying to play on freshman basketball. I went out, I did wrestling, and I was wrestling freshman and JV. Half the year, but the dude who was on varsity, I knew I could beat, and I knew he stayed in trouble in school, so I went after him every day. I'm 5'2", 98 pounds.
Wow.
The weight class is 103. So he's, and the dude that has the spot, he walking around like 102. He's actually like a junior at the time.
Yeah.
I'm in there. I'm going at him every day. We back and forth in our matches and stuff in practice, but you have to wrestle off to earn that spot. But
He's a freshman.
And I'm a freshman. And so I won the JV tournaments, you know, and like when they finally when the Fox tournament, it's a big tournament. It was a big tournament at the time, and you'll see all the big class 4 schools there, all the Wentzvilles, all the Fort Zumwalds, and schools come from like other places deep in Missouri that just all they do is wrestle, right?
Right.
So he gets in trouble. He can't wrestle 103, and the coach takes me to that tournament, which is the first wrestling tournament of the year. I got my ass kicked.
I just knew you was gonna come with that.
Like every match,
What?
I won one match out of like 5, and it was in me, the competitor in me, man. That ate at me so bad. Like I used to get mad and like I would cry because I'm so mad. Like I'm upset. Like I want to be good at something, you know.
Right.
And so like, and at the time it was a junior. At the time his name was Jay Warren. After the tournament, after my last match that day, he walked up and he said, "Dude, you don't even realize you're a freshman wrestling varsity at one of the biggest tournaments in the state right now. You being too hard on yourself. It's all right, man." All I knew was win. All I knew is like from track and everything. Like the time I know I work hard, you know. Like all I know is win. So it's like. So my whole freshman year, it kind of went like that. I had like an even year. I won half my matches, lost half my matches, and when I could get on varsity in between him getting in trouble and him being able to wrestle or not, I got my time. But by the end of the year, my freshman year, end of the wrestling season, he wasn't able to wrestle, so I got to wrestle at districts.
Wow.
And I missed state by one match.
That's amazing though. Freshman, dude. That's amazing.
I missed state by one match.
So that's your entry right there, kind of like your entry to the
That's
love.
what martial arts was, man. That's when I fell in love with
MMA.
martial arts, and I didn't even know about MMA at the time. And when I saw it, I was like, I ain't doing that crazy stuff. Like people kneeing people in the head and stuff. Like I was like not even thinking about it at all, right? And then so, and I didn't really watch it because we didn't pay for stuff to watch TV at my house, you know, like so like I didn't really get to come by any pay-per-views often. So, you know, it was just like. So after that year, then I ran track, you know, and I was on varsity in track because track was my home. That's why I knew track, you know.
Right.
My sophomore year rolls around. So, like, one thing I was big on was, like, I never limited myself. So after a good summer of running track, I came back to school, and I ran during cross-country season. I did swimming and cross-country at the same time my sophomore year.
Wow.
Yeah, that opened my lungs a lot, man. And I was still a little guy, but like it helped me. So I got so much stronger, you know. And then wrestling season rolled around. I made the state my sophomore year.
Wow.
And, you know, and
can you still run like that to this day?
Yeah,
you run distance like crazy. Like right now, you can go and.
I could go do
10 miles.
I could do 10, 15 miles. It wouldn't be fun, but I could do it. Like,
wow.
I'm not a person to really talk about myself much, but like in college, I was running 11 miles a day.
Wow.
Like
that's insane.
In the morning at 5:30 in the morning, and then I'm going to 8 o'clock class. You hear me? Like,
that's crazy.
You get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
We waking up at 5:30. We run our mileage. I'm getting back and getting time, and like I didn't fix my schedule enough, so I had at 8 o'clock my first semester. I made sure that ain't happen again. In college, hop in the shower and then head right back out the door. And I was living off campus, so it was like a mile, like
what
you know, half
a mile.
Where
you at? What college did you
I went to SEMO.
Oh man. So
well, I started off at UAPB for 2 years, and then I went to SEMO.
Okay.
Yeah.
But great shout out to UAPB. Shout out to SEMO.
Facts.
Put the love on those.
UAPB Golden Lions, you hear me? HBCUs.
Yes,
man. I love my journey as an athlete and as a young black male. Like, I had never been introduced into anything that had to do with the black culture in regular grade school growing up. Like, you get your history books, you get the whitewash and the face value. You get face value. You know what I'm saying? But like when I got to UAPB, I got to sit with young but older, mature black males that was close to me, and they had looked at them as peers, and they was able to guide me, and I was able to be around the right. I'm very big on energy, right? Obviously, but like I always put myself and monitor my environment because my dad taught me that. You know.
Good.
So, like, I always monitor my environment. So, like, it was a few Sigmas, older guys that did, like, ROTC that pulled me along for a while. And then some Bruhs pulled me along for a while, some Alphas. And then, like, it being at HBCU, you know, that sense of culture and community, I had never felt anything like that as far as, like, in my life.
This is important, listeners. So, predominantly coming from the St. Louis area, Mr. Energy, CJ Charles, has basically let y'all in on a little bit of true facts. So it's kind of St. Louis is a very unique location where it's not a melting pot at all. So we go other places, and it's kind of like a weird scenario for us because we haven't necessarily been, even though it's not a melting pot, it just almost feels as sometimes St. Louis could be, it's either black or white. Mm-hmm. And just making those statements so listeners, you understand it from being from all over the world, whether you're in a melted pot, like that could be, let's just say if it was a location in Florida for U.S. or a location in New York or wherever, Cali somewhere, where you see more diverse individuals, then all of a sudden you start to realize what you don't know or don't experience, have no clue about, is kind of weird. So like he made a statement saying things were whitewashed, which is true. When you go and you start learning more things, he went to predominantly historically black university, or college or university, that's the HBCU he was referencing, and he realized some things that kind of was mind-blowing to him, like how rich in culture that university was. So back to his journey. Keep going, my friend. I just had to put that in, interject that.
For sure. Like, people don't realize, and anybody can go to a HBCU, not just black people.
Check. That's very facts as well.
Not
I've
just
seen that.
African American.
Yes.
No, let me say black. Not
Yes.
just African American
Yes.
or people of color. Anybody can go to a HBCU.
So true.
I met a couple. It wasn't many, but it was white people there. A couple Indian people there. You know, like, but you don't see it often, right? Because it's not. One thing, I'm just side noting this. I'm gonna get back to what I was saying. One thing that really gets under my skin is seeing the black community push all their kids toward a good education and think that a good education just comes from Harvard, or a good education just comes from an LSU, a good education just comes from a UCLA, or you know what I'm saying, like Alabama, or we're gonna take them to Ohio State, the Ohio State.
Right.
Well, you got Howard out there. You got schools out there that have
prestigious schools.
Yeah, and they've been around for a while. You know what I'm saying?
Talk
like,
about that. So we
yeah,
this, and so if you're new to my podcast, just checking us out. Enter the Last Dragon is a podcast where it talks about culture shift. It talks about the progress of how two individuals have influenced America. These individuals have been oppressed, and on a lot of film movie where they have been oppressed, and all of a sudden you see them come out and it just really grow. This individuals I'm talking about is the legend Bruce Lee. A lot of his films where it's like, hey, he's going through some type of struggle and he overcomes it. And my man Bruce Leroy, who is in The Last Dragon, he has a very similar situation. Right now, there's a big discussion regarding the situation with LeBron James and his homeboy, who they call who is his agent. And so they're talking about, there was a I can't remember this anchor's name or the sportscaster, but he basically said, y'all want to change the narrative? They basically put out a rule. I think it's the Chris Paul rule or something.
Yeah, that's his agent's name, Chris Paul.
Yeah.
So like the NCAA most recently filed a new rule that you have to have a college degree in order to be a manager for a professional sports athlete, which is absurd.
That's absurd, right? So they directly attacking.
Because you have so many people, successful people in this world,
right?
Don't have a college degree, man.
That's
that's crazy to me.
That's crazy. And so that dude was like, basically, like, y'all want to change the narrative? Start sending these top athletes to the HBCUs.
Well, it's the black community that's not informed enough about the HBCUs either. I think they know them, they see them, they are there, they over there. They can attach themselves to them, a Grambling University, a Southern. Right. You know, they can attach themselves to those things, but they when it comes time and they have a kid that's a superstar athlete, we're gonna take them to North Carolina.
They want to go to where
we're gonna take them to a place that in our culture we've held as like a KU, we've held as like big basketball, big football programs, but I just always think about it like this, because I'm the person that, and some people don't like that. They don't like that I challenge things, but I like to challenge the thought of the other side. Like, what if those 3 top kids that I know right now that came out of St. Louis or that came out of so-and-so, what if them dudes was cool and they was boys and it was like, hey, let's go to
all day. They go to some.
You hear me?
They go to UAPB. They go to Grambling.
There are Zion Williamson.
Right.
There are what would the NCAA basketball?
It'll shake it up times 10.
If one of those kids,
right,
one of those all-star talents, one of those great talents, made that decision, I'm looking for that day when that happens. I'm gonna be so happy because it's gonna like. The NCAA just has a black eye, I feel like, on the. I don't agree with a lot of the NCAA rules, to be honest with you. But being an NCAA athlete and
same
seeing,
here. I play college football.
It's definitely what can you do for me?
Yep.
You know, and I'm pat you on the butt along the way.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. But them dudes, I didn't play at the highest level, but them dudes cutting checks, man. Them dudes
Yeah.
is cutting them, and they doing it off the backs of these young dudes.
Yes.
And the excuses they're making is, oh, they're getting a free education.
Oh, and
blah, blah,
yeah,
blah.
man, and like that education worth $50,000. They made that for you in one game.
That's craziness. That's craziness.
And how many games do they play in a college career?
Oh my, come on, man.
You hear
Talk
me?
about it.
And they make you that in one tournament. They make you that times 3.
That's crazy.
You get what I'm saying?
I
They go
think-
to the Maui Invitational each year. Basketball, they gonna make that money. That's why they need to pay. I do agree they need to pay. And coming from track athletes gonna get the blunt end of the stick. Some wrestling schools gonna get a nice amount, but like some sports ain't gonna get paid as much as others because that's just the U.S. anyway. That's the culture of all sports. Football, basketball, and the big name sports are gonna get those athletes are gonna see more, But I think they're just afraid that they're gonna lose college athletics once they start paying these athletes because these kids are not gonna stick around. And so like. Yep. There has to be a mind shift in how can we still educate these kids that are going to come through here, that are going to be athletes. What is the outlet we're going to give the kids that should pursue things, should pursue these opportunities, but still allow them to get an education? So who's gonna be that person to do that? What's gonna be that outlet for those people? That's what needs to happen instead of trying to, we're going to put a rule they got to stay in college for 2 years.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like, instead of doing something like that, make it make sense. That's what I say all the time. Make it make sense.
Now, are you going to, on your end, I guess during that time frame, you was running cross country in college. Did you wrestle at the same time?
No, I couldn't. So, like, man, that's way too much of workload. Like wrestling. College wrestling is a different animal, and college cross country and track is a different animal. Like it's on your body, man. It's ridiculous. So, but what I did was, even though I wasn't supposed to, I did intramural judo. I did intramural things on my own time. Like they weren't even they were a part of university, but they weren't. Like the intramural judo was on campus, but it was off campus. You get what I'm saying? And I went in and found a traditional teacher. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So like. But I put that time in myself. My cross country coach didn't even know about that. If he did, he'd be like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" Yeah,
body up. Judo brings your body up. You gotta know how to fall.
And so, like, I let the instructor know, "Hey, I'm doing cross country and track. I'm on scholarship here." And so, like, it was a great setting to learn. That's all I was there for. Learn, and I'm big on sharpening my tools. So, like, I wasn't able to. In college, you're not going to be able to do 2 sports, you know what I'm saying?
That's a nugget. What you say? You big on sharpening your what?
My tools.
That's a nugget. So basically, that's a metaphor. Hey, check it out. Yeah. It's the reason why people sharpen their axe. Keep going.
Yes. Because, only God gave you the gifts that you have. Right. Or whatever you view as God. Yep. You or whatever. Yep. I'm a person of faith. I don't draw from any religion in particular. I've been influenced by Christianity, mostly being a black male. Right. But so I can say I'm a Christian. I can say I'm this. I can say I'm that. But I just say I got faith.
Right. All day.
You hear me? So like, when I say that, like you have been given gifts that, and who said it? What was it? Was it my guy? I can't remember which rapper said it, but he just said, worst thing in life is wasted talent. He just literally had a whole album about it. But that whole statement, worst thing in life is wasted talent, and people say time too. But I'm big on so when I say I'm big on sharpening my tools, I try to be knowledgeable of what I have to offer, able to offer more. But understand that people only gonna be able to receive as much as they willing.
Now, are you right now got any things in the works that you're working on as far as MMA? As far as tell us about that lifestyle. What you got popping there?
Yeah, man, I've been back in St. Louis for a month now, so I just been seeing family, preparing for this move. So most recently, since I started MMA, right? I went pro in 2016. I was doing college track through 2015, 2016. Okay. When I came back home, I just went straight to the gym, and I was grinding on that grind. So since 2016, and me being a professional athlete, it's just been boxing and mixed martial arts.
Wow.
Okay. When I started my journey, it was 2012, and I was home from UAPB. I had lost my scholarship, adversity, right?
Right.
I failed a class twice, the same class twice, worth a lot of credit hours. Came back home, was working at Walmart, trying to figure out what I was going to do as far as school.
Yeah.
My buddy, Kim Porter, messaged me. I knew him from high school wrestling, but he had been doing MMA for a while. He had like 45 fights at the time as an amateur, right? He messaged me, was like, bro, I need somebody to train with. Just come to my mama's house. I need you to roll with me. Like, you know how to wrestle. I know you know how to wrestle. I just need a body. I need somebody to. I went over there this 2012. We in his mama basement. Start playing around with him, like wrestling stuff. Okay, boom. Next day, like, yeah, let's go to the park. He started showing me little stuff with my hands. I don't know how to throw my left hand at all. You know. Next day, he messaged me, hey, there's some fights in Kansas City called Blue Corner Fights. He said, I'm gonna be fighting this dude over there, Billy Benz, and you want to get on this fight card, man. They said they got a spot. It's a dude for a dude your weight.
Wait.
This 3 days in. You hear me? I'm like, let me talk to my pops, because, you know, at this time I'm living with my folks. Right. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do as far as college sports. My dad coached me in track my whole life, so my whole family, my whole atmosphere in my family, like, get back in school, because they pushed this whole time. We ran track so you can be able to get a free education. So, like, get back into school. So they see me working at Walmart. They asked me, you know, what are you doing as far as, like, trying to get back to school? What are you going to do? So I say, let me talk to my dad, man. I'm gonna see how you feel about that, you know. And then I was like,
This a Marine.
Yeah,
right,
yeah. So then, you know, I ended up not calling my dad, and I called him back in like 10, 15 minutes. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it, bro. I'm gonna do it. I want to do it. I want to do it. Like, I'm gonna do it, bro. Dang. So after 2 weeks, we drove to Kansas and the Harris Casino. They put these long, big black X's on my arms because I was 20 going on 21. All right. I won 21 and I'm in a casino, right? So they had to put X's on there because I wasn't of age. And I fought this dude. He was a kickboxing Muay Thai dude. I took him down every round and ground and pounded him the whole fight. The ref didn't stop the fight. At the end of the fight, that dude had 2 black eyes. And this was my first fight. He was like number 7 in Kansas. He was like 4-0. So rankings as an amateur is like you start off winning, you gonna get ranked, right? So, but he knew what he was doing. Like me, I'm like 2 weeks in.
Never
a
fought.
Dog. You hear me? Like
never fought.
Not no, you know what I'm saying? MMA fight. You hear me?
That's
and
crazy.
So like I've been around, but like not no MMA fight. So
you have endurance though.
So I had my cross country lungs and I had my wrestling. That overhand right and took a shot and took him down every round. He didn't know how to wrestle, so that was excellent for me. Luckily, I didn't fight somebody that knew how to wrestle, because then it would have been a banger. But even then, if you look at my photos, I look like Bruce Lee. Like, I'm literally standing and then stand with my hands like this, like, because I watch a lot of Bruce Lee. I watch a lot of movies like that, martial art movies. And so like when I was in there, I was just in my zone. Like I was just like doing shit, and I didn't know how to throw my left hand, so I'm standing there like this, and I'm like throwing my right hand and shooting the shot off, you know, like I'm having fun with it though, right? So that was 2012. Fast forward 2016, I go pro, and so 2015 I seen these tryouts. I started seeing these documentaries for these tryouts in Thailand with Tiger Muay Thai, which was a big gym in Thailand, in Asia. Okay. So since 2015, I put in an application to go out there, and at first I thought they, you know, pay for your flight and stuff. Then I found out in like 2016 when I became pro, like, no, you got to get over there yourself, bro. I'm like, all right, let me make me some money, okay? Check. So 2016, 2017, 2018, I put in applications. I didn't get nothing back. 2016, 2017, I put an application, didn't get nothing back. 2018, I put an application. I get something back months later. I'm preparing to go to Cali at the time, though, to leave St. Louis. And, like, for me, I was like, oh, shit.
What do I do, right?
Like, I was like, luckily, I've been saving for a move. Luckily, I had this money saved up, and I can get a flight.
So, wait. You got it accepted. I need to applause that up, man.
Man. Is like I said, I watched the documentary. If you pull up their documentaries on YouTube, you see it's like millions of views, right? And so like, if you thousands of people put in applications each year, and then out of that they pull 30, 40 people, and out of those 30, 40 people, you go to the tryout for a week. They put you through some hell workouts, 2 workouts a day, like an hour and a half, hour 50 minutes, just like testing your mind, body, and your skill set. And they make you tired, and they test your skill set. And then at the end of the week, they tell you it's like 3 full days of like grinding, pushing, and then it's like it's literally, but the content of it is literally like 3 days of hell for real, right? Yeah. And then like the first day is like a meet and greet, and then the last day is like a barbecue. So like it's really like 3 full days of 6 workouts of hell, right? Wow. And so like, and you're in there with Europeans, Asians, Americans, not as many Americans obviously, and Thais and people of all over the world, top ranked fighters. Yeah. Right? Me, when I first got there, man, I just said, wow, man. Like, because I never saw myself being a mixed martial artist. But when I first saw this, I knew it was just like with track. Like, when I saw it, I knew what I wanted to do. And so, like, when I put in the applications, all I needed was somebody to see it. All I needed was somebody to choose me. Like, I've always been big on that. Like, they gonna see you and they gonna choose you. When somebody chooses you, that's a big thing. That's like huge. They see something they want. Like, you have to be, as a fighter, you got to be a product, right? Right. As an entertainer, you're an entertainer too, right? Yep. So, them choosing me was big, and so that just made me like really anxious, excited to get out there. And then I got out there, did my thing, and I have the utmost confidence in myself because I work really hard. I train hard.
Dude, that's a big up. So you have now been accepted. Yeah. And what does that include? So the people that don't know, you're part of name the MMA school again one more time.
Tiger Muay Thai. So most mixed martial artists, MMA fighters are familiar with the gym. It's in Phuket, Thailand. It's an island in Thailand, and top fighters in Bellator, UFC, all over the world, and one championship is huge in Asia, right? Yeah. Just as big as UFC or bigger, and you get those guys coming through the camp and just training 3-4 weeks at a time. Anyway, so you're rubbing elbows with champions all the time. So
you get a full year over there.
So when you make a team and they choose you, like you go through the tryouts out of those 40 people, and then they choose 3 to 5 people, right? So luckily, I did my thing. They chose me, right? That's amazing, man. Yeah, that was a blessing, and it was a really great experience. Actually, like everyone was cool, man, and the culture was beautiful. I love the culture. I've always been attracted to the culture of mixed martial arts, and so exactly. Muay Thai and then you see how these Muay Thai, beautiful country, man, beaches, just beautiful. Like it's literally an island. Like it's an island, man. Like it's stuff you see on the computer screen for your lock screen. You know what I'm saying? Like screensavers.
You wake up to this.
Yeah, man.
Golly, dude.
Yeah, so thanks, man. All right, so they choose. So once you get selected, they pay. So this year they changed. Each year they've been adding something each year to the sponsorship because they are getting more money and they're becoming bigger and bigger each year. So this year, this group of people who won the sponsorship and became a part of the team. The biggest thing is they give you a 1-year visa. You don't have to pay for your 1-year visa. They pay for a 1-year visa for us. They pay for our living, which is our room with a refrigerator in it, everything you need. Right. Yeah. Like, and it's your space, right? It's like your own apartment, right? Bathroom, whatever, right? Yeah. And then a meal plan, and then your training is free.
Dude, that's amazing.
So like all you have to do is focus on what?
On training, on fighting. That's it.
Training and fighting, baby. That's it.
Dude, 100%. This is the reason why I do my podcast. He is a living example. Mr. Energy is a true example of someone who has found his way through something he loved and it's associated right with martial arts, man. You can't get no better than this. It's a brother that has found his love in mixed martial arts, man. Found his love in wrestling, found his way at just being a better individual, man. Congratulations, man. That's
Thanks, bro.
major.
Appreciate
That's
it.
major, major.
Yeah, man. It's your vision, man. You manifest everything with your vision. Like, you have to have a vision for yourself. You have to have a vision for who you're going to be, what you're going to say, even down to the simple conversation you have with your coworker.
Right.
Like, when I talk to people and I meet new people and I meet you, when I met you the first time, it was genuine, right?
Right.
You don't get that too often, but first impressions and just every impression, you have to know who you are, and you can't just settle for this is what people are.
That's
or
real.
you know, like, you got it, and it's okay to be your people. The world that we live in, people are so afraid to be themselves.
That's true, man.
And that's why energy is so big for me, like INERG, because you have to be you. You have to let people. You gotta be you, bro. Like, no great person. When you talk about the great people in the world,
it's another nugget, man. God,
when you talk about the great people in the world, when you talk about Muhammad Ali,
right?
when you talk about Michael Jordan,
Yep.
I'm just gonna name athletes, right?
All right.
But if you talk about Barack Obama, if you talk about whoever, you don't associate them with other people and say, oh, Barack Obama is a combination of George Bush and Bill Clinton. No, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't say Michael Jordan is a combination of Will Chamberlain. Nah, that great person was that great person, and they were who they were. And if they wasn't anything else, they wouldn't be as great as they are. So that's what people don't understand. You got to be yourself, even down to the little conversations you have with people when they say something about somebody you may know. And if you don't say nothing, then
who are you?
If you don't feel what they saying, let them know, and that's okay.
Yeah.
If you can't have that conversation, then why you talking to them?
Dude, it's the nugget that I got so excited about is just like being yourself, man. It's hard to be authentic these days. There's a lot of pressure that I see, even from starting as a young child, and they see things online, they see things socially, and they portraying this image which may not truly be them. So like, it's one thing like I would hear stories about hip hop people. Some of them may not be truly gangsters. They say they are, right?
Yeah.
But they homies is super gangster, or
Yeah,
they didn't push as much weight as they said, whatever. And
Right.
But when it's all said and done, it's like, you know what I mean? If you're not even comfortable in your own skin, what's the point? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
What's the point? Like, why? Dude, that's a nugget, man. Being yourself, knowing yourself is just more important. Like, I don't mind talking about my artistic background. Most times when it was kind of nerdy to draw. It was nerdy to watch martial arts. You know what I'm saying?
It was facts. It was nerdy to be into art growing up. Like, I'm a graphic designer, so like, I get what you mean. Like, I be in art class and like, I can remember, man. Like, I can remember literally memories of like other black kids being in class with me and just looking at me like, bro, you drawing? You really drawing? Are you really coloring that right now? Are you really trying to be in the lines right now?
Come on, man. Hey, that's being yourself,
and it's just like, yeah, bro. Like, I like to
be.
What's wrong with having this being a nice color? Like, I ain't, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, we don't color, man. Like, why you don't like? Why you coloring? Like, bro, it's just like, we in class. We ain't finna just sit up here and just be.
Exactly. Like, man, I was the dude carrying them with my books. I had the blank notepad, the sketch pad with the pencil. Like, I'm with you, man.
Facts.
That's it. Be comfortable in your own skin. I have to. Matter of fact, thanks to you, I'm gonna add a segment. Each one of my episodes, every episode, I got to talk about knowing thyself and being comfortable in your own skin. From Mr. Energy, I'm doing it every episode. I have to repeat that, man. That's dope, man. That's dope.
Facts.
All right, so tell me more. You got right now opportunity to leave in 2-3 weeks?
No, I leave in 4 days.
Wow, that's gangster.
Yeah,
so,
man, I booked my flight. Like, after we just spoke a couple of days ago.
Right.
I was like, man, I'm the type of person now, like right now, I didn't used to be this way, but within these last couple of years,
thanks Thank you for coming on my podcast with such short notice.
Hey, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Like,
Dude.
I love having these conversations. I love this, man. I like it.
Wow.
I love talking to just conversation. To be honest, I like picking the brains of people, and I'm an introvert, but you will never know. You know what I'm saying? You will never know because I don't mind having conversations. I like having conversations with people and seeing where they at, and like everybody. Back to my note. Everybody has something to offer, and you never know what somebody is going to say to you and get you to look at something differently. Or tomorrow, I may be doing something like, dang, so-and-so said something to me that this cat said something to me after my boxing match months ago. His name is Grant Sebastian. He's a mixed martial artist here, and I corner him. He asked me to corner him. I cornered him in one of his fights before. I've seen him around the circuit as an amateur, and like we connect to each other because he's another young black dude that's doing
his thing.
Like I see myself in him, but at the same time, it's just like we see each other in passing enough, so we know of each other. But he said something to me, and I kid you not, I've been thinking about this, and he don't even know, but I've been thinking about this like every other day. He said we were having a conversation, and I was like, and I do this a lot. Okay, my cousin says to me, like, you ain't got to explain yourself to me, cuz. But it's not even about that to me. Like, explaining myself to people, I try to, if I love you and I care about you, I try to let you know where I'm at.
That's real.
So he said to me, we were having a conversation about mixed martial arts. And he does, like, meal preps for people and stuff. He's like a chef kind of on the side, too. And that's pretty dope to me. Yeah. And I was like, man, that's dope. And he was like, but yeah, he was like, I was talking to him about, you know, how things was going in my fight and stuff. He was like, and I guess he felt like he had to say this to me, but he said, Charles, it's cool. He's like, I know you great. He said, do you know you great? Like, him saying that to me, like, bro, I kid you not. I was like, in that moment, I was still talking to him, you know, but like, I've been thinking about that like every other day. Like, he right. Like, I gotta keep that feeling that they call it ego. It's okay to have ego. Right. In this business that I'm in, you have to have that confidence. You gotta have this confidence. You get me? You being an entrepreneur, being an entertainer, being anything that you're doing, you gotta be confident. But like, especially in what I'm doing on my field, you gotta be so mentally strong and positive. I'm a positive person anyway, but you gotta have that confidence. And I used to look at it back in the day, and I see fighters like Conor, and I see fighters like Mike Tyson, and I see fighters with a lot of vibrato, and I'm like, man, this dude play too much. But then, like, as I become a fighter and more, I'm like, I get where his mind was at. He had to be that to be doing what he's doing. Exactly. You get what I'm saying? He had to be that person in that he in his moment. He in the element. He in his zen.
Dude, this is so powerful too for my true Last Dragon fans. Those people who know there was a place in that movie that showed Bruce Leroy in his uncomfortable stage throughout this entire movie, and he was struggling with himself to find the upper level.
He kept thinking it was a place.
Think about that.
He kept thinking it was a person that was going to tell him.
Exactly.
But no.
And think about that. That's dude. This is so powerful, man. Like, basically, like knowing.
Why didn't you tell me that it was a machine? You hear me?
Yes, man.
This is why the older I get, the more I love the movie The Matrix.
Okay, talk about it. That's what
the movie The Matrix. Yeah, I love that movie.
I love that movie too. I
realized one thing about that movie. The more I think about like just regular things, like things they said in the movie you don't get, like, bro, I'll
go slow with you. So here's some of my little basic stuff in the Matrix, and this is on the spot, and this is not prep, but this is like real talk, things that you just didn't pay attention to the very first time. When I first watched the movie, very first time, I went with some good friends of mine. Shout out to Tap Ted, Teddy's father who took us. Just a bunch of our old best friends I'm still close with to this day. And the gangster part about that movie was like animation on the higher, not animation.
It was for that time.
It was called CG. Anyway, they slowed down everything.
And it was amazing what
for
was it,
that
CGI
time.
or
See,
something?
yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Like they was trying to take it to this next level, and they did.
They
that.
introduced you to something different.
Something
They had to with that
different.
movie though.
Right, and then you come with this movie, but I didn't catch all the things that was going on. I didn't catch the relations, I didn't connect the dots on what they were really trying to relate. Like there's so many hidden stories from like Neo, almost Christ-like, Morpheus. Like there's so many hidden stories inside of it, like the Matrix being the world. You know what
It
I'm saying?
is.
Like it's so many hidden
It
stories.
literally is.
Like literally, like and it was like,
When you unplug,
oh, exactly.
you're
Come on. You got choices in life, the red or the blue pill.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
man.
saying? Like, do you take this pill, stay as is, and stay comfortable? Or do you take this pill and get uncomfortable and wake up? And then you start to think about that in life, you're going to have challenges. And most of the times, honest quote, I just saw it online, things that hurt you make you better. And it's the freaking truth. Anything you struggle with.
I told Adam Meredith, who does Outside Perspective.
Shout out to Adam.
Yeah, our homie. He's a BJJ monster too. But we were talking, and I was telling him, he was like, "Dude, what do you think?" Like, I was like, "I think most of this stuff for me comes from like pain,
Man.
coming from an early age, pain, like understanding, it, like getting to know it early, and then
He's starting to believe. That's the Matrix
you
quote.
like, yeah, and like." I didn't know then, but I know now.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was happening until, like, honestly, my breaking point was going to college at the age of 18 and being on my own in Arkansas, living basically like an adult on a full scholarship, but having to still have the responsibility of myself for the first time ever and manage me. And who am I? What am I going to do? I put quotes on my walls. I came up with my 3 P's moniker. Came up with my ambition and Nike socks hashtags. I came up with all of the bases of this mindset and this positive person that I knew that I was.
That's good, man.
That's what I started to really go towards, and you know what I'm saying. Like I drew to a lot more. So, I think that's that was a big thing, man.
That's major, man, because you get to be an example too for brothers here, and I'm excited to hear that someone I personally know, dude, you got a chance you got a chance to do something you love every day on somebody else's dime.
And I'm still a baby in this fight game, man. Like you got people who've been on this their whole life. I'm honestly. I started fighting 2012, and I dabbled in between St. Charles and MMA and places like, but I was just stopping in on the weekends. I wasn't really fighting yet, you know. I was everything I did in fights, I would watch on YouTube or a movie, and I would try it in fights. And I would be successful at it.
That's crazy.
Because I'm a visual learner. I would be successful. I fought in St. Charles at the Ameristar, and this was the first time that this guy, coach named Patrick Christie, he's like the Muay Thai coach at St. Charles MMA. They ended up in the same locker room. I wasn't fighting for St. Charles MMA at the time. And I was like, I want to throw some knees. Can you show me how to throw some knees real quick? He showed me how to throw some knees like 5 minutes before the fight. I kid you not. I went out there for this fight, and it was Gateway to the Top tournament for a belt and everything. I broke this dude's nose with my hands. Like, I punched him, I broke his nose. But, like, the story of, like, that round and a half into the second round was I hit this dude with so many knees.
That's crazy.
To the body. Like, you can't throw to the head, but so many knees to the body. I threw so many knees just doing what he had just showed me 5 minutes before my fight.
That's crazy.
And implemented into what I already had done, been practicing and working on. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
So when I say I'm a visual learner,
Yeah.
and that's why I get good at things fast.
Yeah.
Once I understand it, I'm good at applying it.
That's good,
right?
man.
So that's why I ask questions.
That's real.
That's why I have conversations.
That's real.
That's why I do all that,
And it's going to be continued growth, man.
Hopefully.
That's good,
that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that it's not a ceiling on it anytime soon. It's that's what's great about mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
It's so much to learn.
So give my listeners some advice as a person who's had a different walk and getting into MMA. You've had a collegiate experience side of you. You've had high school experience. You've had amateur fight experience to now professional fight experience to now you're. What would you recommend for someone who is just starting out mixed martial arts? Is there any art you prefer? Anything
I
that you
got
would tell them to
I
start
got a
with?
couple recommendations. First of all, I think everybody, even if they don't do mixed martial arts, and they just looking for any level of fitness, they should be doing jiu-jitsu because if not, they can handle themselves against anyone in the street. You
Check.
know,
Right,
you know,
right.
and you don't ever want to come to it, but you want to be able to handle yourself if you need to.
So many applicable things: self-defense, exercise. It's about a lot of different
Jiu-jitsu, the whole art is you can be 250 pounds and I can be 150
stuff.
pounds,
Exactly.
and I'm gonna keep you up off of me.
Exactly.
That simple.
That's
It's
real.
just that
That's
simple,
real. That's real.
and I don't have to be athletic.
Yep.
I can use your jacket against you.
That's
You
real.
hear me?
Yeah,
Like,
that's
but
real.
and it ain't no fantasy martial art. It's literally you go in there, you learn this, and you apply it if you need to.
I love
But
it.
it gives
I
you a
love it.
sense of self-confidence that a lot of people are lacking
I love it.
in everyday life.
Yep.
Within themselves, they question whether a lot of people ain't even been in a fight. Like, what would I do if I was in a fight? What
They
would I
have
do?
no clue.
They don't know, but at least you will have an idea. You get what I'm saying? At
Right,
least you will
right.
have a groundwork. And the second thing I want to say is, when you wake up in the morning, don't be such a receiver.
What do you mean by that? Preach on it. Talk about it.
This is the big thing, because I know me and you spoke in before about the factory mindset of how people live in the culture of American culture of going to work
yeah,
and kids go to school and stuff. But if you're not too tired, you're not a single parent, even if you are, you still have to find time to make time for yourself. So even if it's waking up 5 minutes earlier, 10 minutes earlier, when you wake up, do not touch your phone. When you wake up, don't do anything that has to do with social media.
I feel that.
Don't do anything that has to do with anything else in the world. Do not be a receiver.
That's
When you
real.
wake up, it's factually, scientifically proven. That's when you are most creative.
Wow. So don't be out there trying to just absorb stuff that can be a distraction.
What are you putting into the world the first 5-10 minutes of the world? What are you doing for yourself, and what are you putting into the world
That's
the first
real.
5-10 minutes?
That's real.
It could just be a thought. It could just be it could be a sentence
Right.
in a notepad next to your bed that you look at 10 weeks down the line, and you got a paragraph now.
That's
And
real.
a year later, you got a whole.
You got a book, right?
You hear me?
Right.
And it could be a line a day.
Right.
That's
right.
365 lines.
Yep, you got your own short.
That's
ebook.
20 pages. That's a
Right.
book.
Yeah, that's live, man. That's live. So
You can write your own book in a sentence a day.
Yeah. So talk about that. So let me make sure I got it right. So you feel, or one of your habits are you wake up.
I'm not great. I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, but I'm think about it, and I don't say I do it every day. Some days I get up in the morning and I go eat something and I go do something. Like I won't write. I'm not saying I get up and write every
But
morning. I'm not
you
saying.
got a good habit though. That's
But
good.
my thing is, and I've done it a couple times since I've been home because I don't have anything to do. I'm not working right now. Like I don't have anything to do. But like I literally been waking up and I will write in my notepad in my phone.
That's awesome, man.
Or I dreamed about something, which it doesn't happen all the time. We don't have dreams every day.
Every day,
But
right.
when like a lot of us has dreams and like you gonna forget that dream 5 minutes from now. It's factual.
Exactly.
It's literally scientifically and factually proven
Exactly.
that you're not gonna remember everything about that dream. You might remember some dreams. You have recurring dreams, right?
Yeah.
Because of things of the stagnancy of your life for one, and then you're thinking about stress, and the stresses in your life create dreams, and then they're very familiar, so you can remember that dream, right? I had a recurring dream growing up myself. You know what I'm saying? So, but what I'm saying is, when you wake up, pump that creativity into the world.
That's awesome.
Pump that even if you don't want to pump something into the world, into yourself, like you gotta have at one point in time, like in the black community, you got your parents, and I think about my parents. I'm like, I can't even remember my parents having time for themselves for real. Like,
Dude, man, it's
like,
deep, man.
like I remember doing things for us. I remember my mom going to work and being a career service advisor at Harris State University for 19 years.
Wow.
You know, and I remember her getting up in the morning, going to work, and come home watching TV, watching her Law and Order SUVs. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
like her TSIs. But not until like now, later on in life, like probably like 5 years ago, she started talking to me about like almond milk and her self help, and then her health, and then like she had a bad knee injury, and I think a lot of things that changed in her life forced her to think about herself a little bit more and her health, if not just physical but mental, and she talking different now.
Yeah, I love it.
You hear me? And I see that in my stepmom. I see that in my stepmom, like my mama, like that's my mama, and I see that in her, and I'm like, if everybody, like she had a busy plate. You hear me?
Yeah.
But
I think what you are saying is so valuable, because imagine how you could start your day if you started with that positivity and that creativity, what you speak.
it's 5 minutes, man.
Dude, that's amazing, because like I had a situation where I did something, and one of my friends made me aware of it, and I realized it kind of weighed on me on the entire day, and I thought about like, man, I made a mistake. It's in the sea of forgetfulness. It's over. I can't do nothing about it. I had to go, and what I do every day is my positive affirmations. And so I literally every day, it's like I say this saying where I say, death and life is in the power of the tongue, and they that love it will eat its fruit thereof. The tongue has the power of life and death, and they that love will eat its fruit. And I say these affirmations: I'm a winner. I will succeed. I'm the best of the best. I'm blessed and highly favored. I'm a child of God. God is multiplying my income. God is always with me. I will keep positive as today. My business is exploding in growth. My career is exploding in growth. People are attracted to me. My money magnet. I believe everything I've spoken today, and I believe what I've said. So I say that daily. I had to reaffirm myself because of that negative energy that I was feeling about myself. And I was like, golly, I can't change what I made that mistake on. But imagine that weighing on me the entire day. Imagine now if that person knows, oh, I start with this positive thought, and I could be happy about this thought all day, what I wrote down, or what I'm thinking about doing different, or what I'm feeling about being better. The 5-minute good energy you put into your life. That's awesome, man. That's positive as hell.
Those affirmations are big too. Like I'm gonna have a lot more time to work on those things. I tried it. I'm very big on vision, putting up notes, putting up things. So once you put it down and you see it, it's reality. It's not just in your head. So everything starts inside, obviously.
It's a thought. Put it down on paper, it can become reality. Yes,
it's not gonna. It is.
It is.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's literally physical.
I feel that.
It's literally a thing in the world now.
I feel that.
You can touch it.
I feel that. I'm with you. That's dope. I feel that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. My affirmations were written down, and now every day.
You took those words.
Yeah.
Wrote them down. Now you can touch it.
Yeah. I am a winner. I will succeed.
And it's
I'm
already
the best of the best.
So it's not like it's happening.
It's happening, right? That's dope, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. 100.
This shit's crazy, right?
100, man. 100, man. 100. Hey, that's real, man.
When I was in college, I thought I was gonna be a pastor.
What? No way.
I started going to church more.
It's okay.
And then I was like, I thought the motivational aspect of me was going to be drawn to the church because I started going to church and more like on my own accord. Like, and when I was growing up, you're like, we going to church.
Right.
I guess we go to church. You get to college and you go on your own accord. It's something that you doing. It's something about us as young adults, you know, when you get out the house, I'm doing it myself now. You know, you feel proud about it, right? So, you know, like I started going to church and stuff, and then I was like, man, dude, I really... like my friends, I hung out with the same people when I was at UAPB, like the same group of people every day, and I didn't agree with everything they did or as far as who they were, but I never judged them. I was like my friends and my boys, you know what I'm saying? I'm talk to them, you know, if they change, they change, you know. But like, I definitely felt like I was a positive person within that group that was a nugget. But going to church really, I started hanging around a little. It was what's the frat? It's like a church frat. Like
I know what you're talking about because it's a couple.
What is that name? Because I'm still cool with some of them.
My
to
boy
this day.
Darnell Ivy, I think, is in it.
Yeah.
And my boy Sean Bradsfield, I think he's in it. And Sean's been on the podcast. I'm pretty sure it's the one you're talking about. It's a church frat, right?
Yeah, I can't remember the name of them right now, but
I feel like I got.
I stayed with them during a winter.
Yeah.
Over winter break and stuff when I was in college, and then it was like I was going to church a lot, and then I just felt like I had something to say that people needed to hear.
That's funny you say that. Like you do have something to say, and people are listening, man. This is your opportunity to give back what you're doing. You're doing this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
Like,
I'm
like
just trying to be a great listener. You know what I'm saying? Like I think I feel like I need to be a better listener than I need to be speaking, but I do feel like what I have to say, people need to hear.
I agree. Like you told me today, man. Like it's never too late to get back on my art grind. I'm on it, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's real. Just like you say, you get man. Speaking of that, what's some hobbies you gonna pick up while you over there? What's some things you gonna get done?
Man, I'm definitely gonna start back running. I ain't been running much these last couple of years because I've been working so much, and it kind of messing with my peace within myself. Like running is yeah, man.
Keep going.
Running is so peaceful for me.
Yeah.
And I noticed how like people that I persuade to start doing that more, when they start doing it, they start saying stuff like, "Man, I'm starting to like running now," because it's something peaceful about running. Like you're in the world, like you're out here, but like when you running, like it's just man, I don't know how to explain it, man. Like
I feel that.
you're not attached to nothing,
Yeah.
and you got your thoughts, and you kind of. It forces you to really think about things that you wouldn't thinking if you were just walking around the house or you were sitting at the house and you had other things influence you.
You like to just run outside, or you like to hit the treadmill?
I don't even like running on the treadmill. I like just running and hitting a route.
That's
and you're hitting a route. I don't like the stagnancy of a treadmill. I do it for a workout.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? But like as far as like when I want to just get some air, I like the air. Like I get in that air. You know what I'm saying? Like the real shit. You know what I mean? Like
so I always do this, man. This is important. Every one of my episodes, at the end, close to the end, I have to challenge. It's called Roy's Trivia, and so your host Roy Rob.
You fuck what?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you get your host Roy Rob. And
don't you feel good?
Yeah,
we gonna.
So help me out, right? So
right.
My podcast is with Enter the Dragon as well as The Last Dragon. Can you name for me?
Man. Don't make it hard on me, man.
I'm going to make it easy, man. Top 5 MMA professionals. Your top 5. That's easy. I'll start with that because you're going to get 2. You get 2. The hard one's going to be second. Who's your top 5 MMA professional? Top 5.
When I first started fighting, it was Dominic Cruz. I liked his footwork, and I ain't like getting hit, and I like countering stuff. So his style was my style. Now he came from a wrestling background.
Okay.
So
is he number 5 or he's number 1?
It's no rating with these.
All right.
It's
cool.
no one.
Okay.
No 1 or 5.
Okay.
Because I'm a mixed martial artist now, I'm 1.
All right.
Just because I have to be.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
But like and for the sake of this answer, my favorite 5 fighters that I draw from the most, and I would say it because I draw from them most, I can relate to them. I have started liking Israel Adesanya actually a lot. I just got introduced to him like a year and a half, 2 years ago. So I've been watching a lot of his kickboxing glory days. Heavyweights. Let me think of the heavyweights. Not really so much the big boys. I've never been attracted to the big boys, to be honest.
It's all good.
I was trying to think if it was any heavyweights that I could think of.
Jones?
I like John Jones, and I love the greatness of him, and I always root for him. I don't want to see him lose because I like seeing greatness. So I never root against greatness. I think he is great.
Yeah, he's great.
So I've never rooted against him. I don't agree with his personal life decisions, but that has nothing to do with fighting. So for the sake of the answer, he's great, but he's not. I don't draw from him.
I feel that.
I don't draw from him. I like Carlos Condit.
Oh man, dude, what weight is he? Middle? What weight?
He was what 155,
Yeah,
170,
yeah. Oh,
155,
yeah.
170. So
All right, keep
I
going.
think.
All right.
Man, it's Anderson Silva, obviously.
Of course, Spider.
Yeah.
Hey,
Obviously.
the beast, man. He's the beast.
Yeah, like I literally was hurt when he got
When he got
beat
injured.
by Weidman.
Oh,
Those
okay.
both times, you know, like both times. It was when he got hurt the first time and the second time, like dang.
Yeah,
man.
exactly, dude. He
Another
he-
great. You don't like seeing greatness not win. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was that Ali effect. You know what I'm saying? Like when Ali took that L, it's
Yep.
like, how does it happen? Ali can't lose. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah, and so I guess the last one would be probably Max Holloway.
Okay.
I like Max Holloway, and I like because he reminds me of me. I don't really get tired, and he makes me see the way that I want to fight as I grow.
Yeah.
I want to fight more that way. You
Yeah.
get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With that pressure, that constant, that output, that's I can be that, so I relate to that, and I like how he's a father too.
That's live.
So
That's live.
I like his whole Monica Bliss.
That's live.
You get what I'm saying? So
That's live.
I can rock with that. So, but like that's as far as just MMA. But I pull for more boxers than I did MMA because MMA it's just like when you win something, you got to look at yourself as great. You know, like, and you may not be. If you don't view yourself like that, then you won't be there. You
All
get
right,
what
so
I'm
you
saying?
pull from boxes then. Here's
So,
the trivia. Then.
Sweet Pea.
Here's the. I was about to
You
give you
hear
the trivia. Hold on. I'm about to give you the trivia now. Two
What?
movies Mike Tyson played in. Give me two. Now you got it. You pull for boxes, man. I got you. Now we
I
put
wasn't no Tyson fan, man.
Okay.
I'm gonna be real with you. I was
You
rooting
could've-
for
you
Lennox
could've-
Lewis.
You could have gave me hangover. You gave me hangover.
I know that was easy, but I was rooting for Lennox Lewis.
All right. Okay. Hold on. Let me see. Dang it. Hold on.
Hey, I know that's bad. Like boxing, like the culture was rooting for Iron Mike Tyson, right?
All right, mate.
I love Lennox Lewis, dog.
Hey man, I'm not trying to hate on Lennox. And Lennox has a style that was like
He was cold.
He was amazing.
To me, he was so cold.
He was amazing.
and he knew how to.
He
but
was
people
boring.
people don't know he knew all these other martial arts though.
He was boring as hell.
People don't know he knew all the other martial
I
arts.
feel
though.
you where you going. He was so boring.
I get that. I get that.
It was hella boring.
Yes,
That was,
I get that.
He was.
I
boring.
like Lennox, man.
You can't hate Lennox.
I like
You
Lennox.
can't hate it.
I like him. He was mean to me. Like he was just he was
wasn't no bully.
he
like
wasn't no bully, but to me it was just like to knock out that to beat that dude, you got to be a different type of.
You got to be a different animal, yeah, because he was a monster.
And he was so calm with it.
He was a monster.
And that's why he was such a dog to me because he was so calm with it.
He made Mike look silly, man. He was
and he never looked flustered.
No,
That's why I liked his demeanor in there. Like I liked the way he carried himself. And people say he was boring because he didn't show emotion.
Oh man.
How often did you see Lennox show emotion?
Never. That's the reason it's like.
So people see that as
excited.
boring, but for me, I'm looking at his emotion was in a way that he controlled that ring, in a way that he controlled that fight, in a way that he knocked that man out and set that up.
Who was that dude that just fought? It was two big boys, man. One dude has been like, he swings the haymakers, been knocking everybody out. People were scared to get in the ring with him. And the other dude is this big.
Talking about this Anthony Joshua Ruiz fight?
It wasn't Reeves though. That was
okay.
It was the fight. Who was the big fight before that? Where was this? Is a black dude and one dude was bald headed. He looked white, but what was his name, man?
You talking about Deontay Wilder?
Wilder.
Tyson
Yeah. All right.
Damn. Tyson Fury, Muhammad Ali, boy. But that dude got a story. That dude got a story. Yeah.
That reminds me.
Fact, I met Deontay Wilder in Atlanta just a few months ago.
Was it insane, man? How does he do? Is he I heard when he say he's like, I kill people, I will kill you.
No, he has to. You have like
I
I
love
said,
that confidence.
That's the mindset of fighting. That's not life.
But that's fun though.
That's
dude.
not life. That's the mindset of a fighter when we finna fight.
So both of them dudes is like jabbing at each other, talking crazy.
I love it.
That brought so much energy, right? But that is nothing like my man Lennox at
No.
all, man. Come
Nope.
on, man. You love
But
Pfizer,
it's the
right?
entertainment, you know, like because Lennox is probably the one of the few fighters that I was attracted to that didn't have that big vibrato.
Right, right.
Like if I name out for everybody else, they probably most of them did.
Yeah.
Which is my top 5 boxers is you got Sugar Ray.
Beast Mode.
I'm not putting them in any order.
All right.
You got Sugar Ray,
Beast
Sweet
Mode.
Pea,
Beast Mode.
Floyd, and they
Beast
all
Mode.
around the same weight, right?
Yeah.
Floyd. I got an old school one that nobody watched, but this is where everybody get their footwork from. Lomachenko, Dominic Cruz, MMA fighter, Willie Pep. You don't know him? Look him up. When you look him up, you're going to look him up, you're like, dang.
He
He
nice
old white dude, but like, he ain't get hit.
Nice, huh?
Moving his feet, he out the way. And how Lomachenko fight now is how he used to fight.
That's
He
live.
hit you from both sides.
That's
boom,
live.
boom,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And so like I like Willie Pep, and then obviously I liked Roy Jones and Muhammad Ali.
Dude, Roy
You know what I'm
Jones
saying?
is on a whole. Oh my God! And
Just
Muhammad
athletic,
Ali on another
gifted.
level. Athletic, dude.
Roy Jones was the peak of athleticism in boxing. Learning how once you learn how to punch
Yeah.
correctly, but
Yeah.
like he was the peak of like one of the most gifted people, not so much technical, and then. Muhammad Ali was just mentally stronger than everybody he fought.
So tough, dude. So tough.
Muhammad Ali boxed and he became good at his craft, but the thing that set Muhammad Ali apart from everyone was he literally, and Mike Tyson talked about this on his on somebody's podcast. He said, "What I respect about Ali is, I talk that shit, but he was really about that shit. Like he would have died in the ring.
Yep.
I ain't about to die for this shit."
Yep.
That's what Mike Tyson said.
Yep. Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier had to both go to the hospital. It was either at the Thriller in Manila or at the Rumble in the Jungle. Whatever the one that was in the States. That second fight, literally, is he the third fight? I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
But long story short, both of them went to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
That's how intense it was.
Yeah.
Dude, intense.
Yeah.
Like,
people don't realize how good they talk about all these knockout artists and shit now. People don't know. They don't realize how good George Foreman was, man.
oh, George.
A young George Foreman, dudes.
All day.
A
Hands
young
down.
George Foreman,
Hands down.
and Muhammad Ali beat him.
Hands down.
And Muhammad Ali beat
I feel
him.
you. George Foreman won. He won
He-
the Olympics. He was dude. Foreman was off the chain. Like he was
A
destroying.
young George Foreman.
Yeah, he was destroying people.
Put him in today's boxing.
Oh, it's over.
Man.
It's over. Right? It's over. It's no choice. Right. All right. So, give me some shout out, man. Who's your people that you love training with? Shout out your folks that you just want to throw some good energy in the air for your good people that you really care about in the MMA world, or just people in general.
First off, thank you for being on this podcast, man.
No doubt.
This is
Coach
fun.
Ward Rob.
Yes, sir. We probably do it through Skype next time.
All
you know.
day, man, because you're
It's
going
like
to be back
it's
on.
gonna be a 12-hour difference.
We make it work. We make it work.
But I just want to shout out my family, my pops and my mom and my cousins, and just my family for being there for me when it's hard for you to be there for yourself.
All right.
You know, so like they keep me in line with who I am, and reminding me that of all the things I do, because I'm hard on myself.
Right.
So that all the things I've done and what I'm going to do. So they
Mhm.
try to keep me in that mindset. So my family, and then I met with actually one of my mixed martial arts coach since 2016, Jeff Henry, early today, from St. Charles MMA. He's an older white guy. He's doesn't see color. You
That's
know,
good, man.
he's been there with me with my striking and just helping me develop as a pro since I turned pro.
Yeah.
And I can't say enough for like just I've gone to his house to help him pull up his floors.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
it's a
I've-
true friendship. Right?
I built a relationship with him
Yeah.
outside of fighting, so we check in on each other.
That's good.
And, you know, so shout out to him. I met with him today, you know. And shout out to St. Charles MMA.
SEMMA,
You know,
no doubt.
I'm a part of Tiger Muay Thai now, but St. Charles MMA will always be where I started my journey, so I'm
Right.
always be thankful for that
Mm-hmm.
and appreciative of that journey.
Right, right.
And Yeah, man.
That's it. All
It,
right.
I just feel like we're gonna have many more conversations.
I'm with it. You have more to
So
shout out.
right now, shout out to Tiger Muay Thai.
There
You
you
hear
go.
me?
There you
In
go.
Thailand, baby. We about
That's
to
it.
get out here and show what St. Louis like. Young brother for St. Louis. So.
How do my fans follow you? Where do they check you out? Let's give me the handles. Give me the Facebooks. Give me the Instagrams. I need the
Yeah.
Twitters. I need it all.
So I'm big on it's just my name. So it's Charles Johnson MMA 125, and my name on Facebook is my name, Charles Johnson.
Perfect. There you have it. Another great episode into the Last Dragon with my homeboy, Mr. Energy Charles. Really, really put it down for us, man. I appreciate you coming on the podcast. Stay tuned for another episode coming to you live in action every week. Signing out. Your boy, your host, Roy Robb.